highlight some key grants available as well for wider facility development and improvement. Okay, next slide, please. A little bit of housekeeping. Like I said, if you could leave microphones and cameras off for now, I think it just improves the quality of the call. We are recording it as well, so we're happy to share that after the call, and we're happy to share the information that we present as well. Like I say, please use the chat box. Please use a little raise hand button. It sounds like we're at school, but it'll just notify us that someone has got a question about something that might be relevant to that slide instead of waiting till the end. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what is pitch power? So this is kind of before we can do anything and apply for any grants for our grass pitches. Okay, we have to hit this kind of #1 criteria first. So the pitch power allows users to assess the quality of their pitches. So it uses a series of questions and image submissions. So just simple pictures that you can take on your phone of specific areas of your grass pitches, and then you enter those into a quite simple system. So it's like an app or a website that, like I say, it's easy enough to use. Okay, so you'll input some general information. So a little bit on how much you're spending on your pitches per season, if anything, how many cancellations you may have had due to vandalism or the weather. It'll ask you to take photos of how the pitches are marked out, so they can get a clear idea of how you're marking them out. Other things like your equipment that you're using, so goals and making sure they're compliant. So it's quite general in terms of the information that it requires, and it just gives us and it gives the pitch assessors an idea of where your club's operating at the moment, and it all helps to build a score for your pitch. Okay. You'll be asked to take some soil samples. Okay, again, fairly straightforward, and something you can do with a trowel or a spade, and then submit a few images of those soil samples. And then our experts from the Grounds Management Association will go through the report, and then they'll give you quite a detailed but easy to read summary of where your pitch is at. So it will breaks it down into different sections. So grass height, the quality of your soil, quality of your line marking, and things like that. Any issues you may be having with leaves blowing on the pitch or rabbits digging holes in the pitch and things like that. So you'll get a detailed report. It'll give you some advice. It'll give you some links to some training materials. And then it will kind of signpost you towards the next step. So it'll grade your pitch from poor, basic, good, and advanced. And your pitch grading will all lead into how much funding you are available to apply for, which we'll touch on a bit later on. Okay, so the first point is getting a pitch power report done. And that's something that, again, any one of us on the call this evening or your county FA facility lead can guide you through. Okay.
Evening all. I'm Jack from Worcester FA, for anyone that doesn't know me. The Grass Pitch Maintenance Fund is a 6-year tapered grant which will help football clubs, school sites that host grassroots football, parish councils, enhance or sustain the quality of your grass pitches. Ideally, we want every pitch in the county, whether that's Worcestershire, Birmingham, Staffordshire, to be a good rated pitch, which is quite challenging, as we know, in the weather conditions we've got at the moment. But the most important thing is we're doing everything we can to improve the quality of the pitches that both youth football and adult football is being played on. As Tom said, that pitches get given a score, basic or below. To us, is a pitch that is eligible for enhanced funding, and pitches that are are good or advanced is eligible for sustained funding, which there's 2 different levels. One is a lot more funding for the clubs, but there is then a contribution from the organisation. And that if a pitch is already good, then the foundation will offer some funding to sustain that good level with minimal contribution from the partner organisation. So who's eligible? Grassroots football clubs, leagues that manage sites, charities, education sites with community usage, town and parish councils, Must-haves, which we need to be able to get this funding, is the freehold of your land or venue, a 10-year lease or a license or an approved agreement. Now, if you don't have one of those, there is a landlord and tenant form, which is a document that both the organisation and the landowner can sign, which just makes everyone aware that over the next 10-year period, the main aim of the funding is to improve the quality of the grass pitches on the site. To apply for grass pitch maintenance funding, as Tom said, you need a pitch power report. That will then give everyone a breakdown of the level of quality of the pitches, and then from there we can then assess how much funding the organisation is going to get. In order to get grass pitch maintenance funding and to carry out obviously the relevant work that might be done, 2 members of the organisation need to have the GMA Level 1 football grounds maintenance course, which is an online course which you can use the funding that you get to pay for the course once you've done it, which is quite an informative course. It takes about 8 hours. It's all online. You can drop in and out, and that just gives an average volunteer a good understanding of where they're at in terms of their grass pitches. Next, please, Vicky. So, pitch power is completed annually. Now, formally, this has to be done twice a year, kind of regardless of the conditions. This will be changing for new applicants to be once a year. Ideally for us, we want your pitch reports to be done when the pitches are looking spick and span. However, football doesn't work like that, unfortunately. And whenever you get the opportunity to do your reports, that is the best possible time. Ideally, after you've done some renovation works, that might be end of the season, you're looking at August, September time when football's about to be played, or you might think, actually, our pitches have had a full season. We get to March, April, and we're thinking this time period where I've got heavy usage, I need some advice. The report will give you a very detailed rundown of what that would be. Some of the eligible works. This funding isn't for regular maintenance. So cutting, marking, this fund doesn't touch that. That is obviously what is needed to be done regardless of funding. If you can't cut and mark your pitches, there's no grassroots football being played. So what's eligible? It's enhanced maintenance work such as slitting, scarification, decompactation, which would be a vertidrain, fertilizer, herbicide treatment, overseeding and top dressing. Now, if clubs are low-level clubs with not much equipment, this can be used to bring in an external contractor who can come and deliver the work. If you're a large club or a school or an education site that has the machinery, then you can potentially buy all the product, deliver the work yourself. So there's different ways that this fund can be spent, but most importantly is this is done for additional work to improve the quality of what we've got. Next, please, Vicky. So an example of the funding breakdown. So for a poor pitch, this is for one 11v11 pitch. So just try and focus on how many pitches you've got on your site. Now, depending on whether you're 11v11, 9v9, 7v7, or 5v5, there is different. We'll come to your questions at the end, by the way, guys. So keep populating them. We will. The funding does taper down slightly, but for this example, in years 1 and 2 for a poor rated pitch, you will be given 100% of the funding upfront in year 1. Now that is for you to spend on improving the quality of the pitches. Your pitch power report will recommend the exact types of work that you need to carry out. Now, as the applicant, you will then take your invoices, submit them onto your grant portal, and then in year 2, we can go again and spend the money again, subject to obviously having our pitch power report completed. In years 3 and 4, this is a tapered grant, so the funding goes to 66% from the Football Foundation and 33% by the applicant. So as you can see on the diagram, it's a contribution of just over £1,000 for years 3 and 4. When we hit year 5 and 6, that flips over. It then becomes a 33% tapered grant and a 66% contribution from the applicant. Now, if you're hosting 5 11v11 pitches that are poor rated, that's quite a significant amount of money. So working with your county facilities lead is a definite positive in this. They can break down the amounts of money at stake, what type of contribution you're going to be expected to put in as a club across the 6-year period, but also is it affordable? And that is something that ourselves we can work down. Is it a case of increasing fees ever so slightly so that this is an affordable model for the club going forward? After the 6-year period, there is an expectation that pitches are continued to be maintained, but the funding stops. So it's important that the quality going into the pitches is still there. However, there is no funding going in. It's a 10-year period on the grant letter that pitch power reports are continued to be maintained. There is potentially some more information coming about what happens in year 7, 8, 9 and 10. But at this stage, there is no more funding following on from that year 7. Next, please, Vicky. So the claims process, grant recipients should aim to submit claims 12 to 18 months after their previous claim has been paid and once their pitch inspection has been completed. So if claim 1 is submitted on the 1st September, money was paid in October, claim 2 should then be submitted on or after the 1st of October. So we've got a full calendar year to get that money spent and for the quality of the pitches to improve. From the second claim onwards, recipients must provide proof of total expenditure for work completed using the previous year's grant funding. For example, invoice works from a respected contractor on letter-headed paper should be absolutely fine. All work must align with the pitch power report. If your pitch power report says the drainage on your site is great, you don't really need any decompactation, but then you spend £4,000 on a 30 drain, it's probably going to be a tough conversation with both your facility lead and your GMA rep because the funding probably could have gone into different areas. So use the pitch power report as a guide as to what the money can be spent on, especially in those later years. Payment timeline. Once all the documents have been submitted, the aim is to process payments within 28 days. Now, County FA staff, our job is to help both the football clubs and the Football Foundation have a great working relationship. Is everything going to work perfectly all the time? Money involved and on online systems? No. Talk to your County FA. We can help with portal access. We can help with submitting claims. It's what we're here for. We want to help the clubs get as much out of this as possible. Year 3 and beyond. So from year 3 onwards, recipients must begin including their partnership funding contributions in the submitted evidence. So if your verti drain is £1,000 for the site, it needs to be obviously evidence that you guys have, as a club, have spent the full amount of money on that, but you can claim back the 66% of that invoice. Next, please. So we'll move on to grass pitch machinery and equipment. This fund is to a maximum grant of £50,000. This is for a maximum grant of £50,000 that doesn't exceed 75% of the total project cost. It is expected that a contribution of 25% to the machinery is put in by the organisation. Same sort of eligibility as the grass pitch maintenance funding. However, NLS clubs or women's pyramid clubs are still eligible, but it comes through Premier League stadium funding, which is 30% contribution rather than a 25%. Requirements for this are a recent pitch power report. You normally get 12 months in order to do this. We would advise, if you're going to apply for machinery funding, get a report done and then apply as quick as you can. It just helps the process much smoother. It is very important that we have secure on-site storage. There's nothing worse than having a call from a club and then machinery has been nicked, and then you go on site to have a browse and the storage container was a wooden shed with no proper locks on. So that's really important to make sure that we've got nice secure storage and evidence of partner funding. The foundation won't fund anything that is, a written out piece of paper that says we will fund £5,000 to this. This has to be evidence on either a bank statement or a letter of commitment from the club officials to show that you are keen and willing to contribute the 25%. Next, please.
When I first came into the job, my predecessor handed me an email saying, you might want to look into this. And over the last 5 years, it's been an absolute godsend because this is a sport. This is called the sports field, but people use it as a community. They come on here, with the kids, and they play and they run and just walk. It's a lovely area for them. But also to be able to have the pitches being played as a decent level of football without being called off very often, apart from the storms that we've had. It's been a godsend. This is a jewel in the centre of the parish. funding from the Football Foundation, Staffs FA, etc., has been crucial to this, because we've done things we couldn't have done as a parish council. We've invested it. The equipment combined with the pitch improvement programme, it's working together, has meant that we've been able to make these pitches much better than they were before. The senior pitch has always been very good underneath, the drainage is brilliant, but we didn't have the funding to do anything above very basic maintenance, mowing and rolling basically, whereas now the pitches over the last few years have come on tremendously despite the weather. We've attended most of the sessions that the Staffs FA have put on, and we've learned through there by listening to the people there, the experts, and all the people with, you know, doing similar jobs to us, and we've learned stuff from that that's been very helpful, not just the machinery but the programme, but also the advice on what to do. So, you know, it's been essential really. You've recently helped us with the fencing, which has made the place secure to protect what we've invested in with your fund, with your help. So just basically keep doing more of what we've been doing, plus improve some of the areas like, say, storage and drainage.
Hi everyone, so I'm just going to do the next section of the workshop. My name's Vicky, I'm from Staffs FA. So yeah, we're going to just talk through now the small grant funding opportunities. So alongside the pitch improvement and the machinery funding, the Football Foundation also offer grants, a maximum grant of £25,000, and it doesn't exceed the 75% of the total project costs. So for small grants funding, you can come in for things such as goalposts, storage containers, portable floodlights, changing and pavilion, clubhouse improvements, 3G pitch maintenance machinery and equipment, fencing, small-sided facility development, 3G pitches, creation of new grass pitches and drainage. You'll notice on the screen that there's a few of the items on there that have got the stars next to them. So kind of anything that's a permanent fixture that can't be moved does require to have a security of tenure. So you'd have to have a minimum of 5-year lease for anything, for grants up to £25,000. So yes, it's just worth noting on that. Things such as goalposts, portable floodlights, storage containers, your machinery, you don't need to have any kind of lease in place for those. It's also just wanting to mention that in terms of the small grants, only one application can be submitted per season. So where applicable, if you're wishing to apply for multiple items, it should be included in one application. So for example, if you've got a site and you're thinking about potential storage containers, goalposts, and maybe some fencing, you would look to put that in to maximise the £25,000 and put that all into one grant. Because as I say, the Football Foundation will only accept one grant per season. So eligible organisations for the small grants are any not-for-profit football clubs or voluntary groups, local authorities, parish councils that offer facilities for grassroots football, professional community club organisations, again, education sites that provide facilities for the community, registered charities, a not-for-profit company, a community interest company, or social enterprise, and a company limited by guarantee. Wrong slide. There we go. So yeah, I'm not going to go through these individually, but for each kind of item for the small grants, there are certain documentation that's required as part of the application process. We will send around these slides after, so you'll have that to hand. But it's just worth noting, when it comes to completing the application form, sometimes it won't let you move on to the next stage unless you have got the documents to hand and ready to upload. So it is worthwhile just checking that you've got everything prior to starting the application form. So hopefully this information will help when you get to the point of submitting an application form. But again, most of them are you'd need 2 like-for-like quotes, evidence of partnership funding. Again, as previously mentioned, anything that's kind of permanent, a permanent structure or fixed to the ground would need evidence of a minimum of 5 years lease. Sometimes you might need to look at for things such as storage containers, fencing, depending on what height it is. You might need to seek planning approval or permission from your local authority. Sometimes the Football Foundation will ask on an application, even if planning permission isn't required, they like to see proof of that. So that can be by way of just an email from the local planning department saying planning permission is not required. That would be suffice in that instance. And sometimes as well, if a lease is in place and you don't own the freehold, sometimes they like to have consent from the landlord. So that is also something just to check before you start an application as to what kind of documents are going to be needed to be provided as evidence. So that's it then on the small grants.
Hi all, I'm Sam. I'm from Birmingham FA. We'll answer your questions at the end and we'll go through them individually. I know we've gone through a few sections, but we'll get through to answer questions shortly. So the Lionesses Here to Play Fund is a brand new grant opportunity that was released late last year to help improve football facilities, particularly that of the women and girls game. With more inclusive, accessible and appropriate facilities, we as football clubs, organisations and authorities can grow the women's game even further. We want clubs to start and maintain their female pathway with enhanced facilities. You'll be more likely to sustain this female pathway and obviously you've got a better chance of not losing your teams to other better equipped clubs. So as we've previously discussed, the funding, this is again another small grant. So the maximum grant you can get is £25,000. The Football Foundation will cover 75% of the total costs, and you'd have to cover as an organisation the other 25%. So if you applied for a 10 grand grant from the Football Foundation, you'd pay the 2,500 and they'll supply the 7,500. So as you can see, what can be funded through the Lionesses fund, it's changing areas. So that can be new toilet blocks, new buildings, obviously within that small grant, toilets, lighting, signage, CCTV, safety features, pitch and clubhouse upgrades, which is all focusing on the female participation. Who can apply? So again, it's the same criteria as Vicky went through. Clubs, local authorities, parish councils, CICs, state enterprises, all of that you can see on the slide. A key requirement is slightly different with this one. We want clubs, local authorities to engage with the FA Equal Games programme. If you haven't heard of that, we can send you more information after this workshop. Each county FA will have different workshops going ahead this year, so please, keep an eye out for that. But we need everyone to sign up or already have previously engaged with the Equal Games programme. You also need 5 years security of tenure, 2 quotes required from everything that you sort of apply for. So if you wanted to have lighting and signage and different clubhouse upgrades, we require 2 quotes from each one. And like the small grant, again, it's 1 application per organisation per year. Okay, just skip on Vicky. Okay, and the catering unit. So in essence, these are just converted containers which allow clubs to utilise the kitchen space to sell refreshments on site. We want clubs to thrive and become sustainable within their community. This will allow clubs to generate more income to generate into their facilities. As you can see, this one is a slightly larger grant, so it's grants up to £50,000. Again, it's 75% funded with 25% coming from the club or organisation. same people that can apply. Again, these grants they've got a common theme of who can apply. And yeah, there is no tenure, as Vicky sort of said, because it's a removable structure. It's temporary. They can effectively be moved as and when. So there's no sort of big lease requirements. But again, you might need the landlord approval, as Vicky just went through as well. But again, these catering units are, so for you wanted to put on refreshments for the footfall that comes and visits the site, you can reinvest back into your grass pitches. For example, if you had the grass pitch maintenance fund, you may want to sell some products, refreshments that would help towards your partnership funding going into years 3, 4 and beyond. There hasn't been any catering units awarded yet. However, Birmingham County FA, this isn't just a little flex from us, but we will have the first catering unit in the country. So if anybody wanted to come and visit our site once it's installed in February, everyone's more than welcome, but you can just drop me an email if you want to come see it in operation on a match day. By all means, just drop me a message.
Fab, thanks, Sam. So we're just moving now on to the kind of last part of the workshop, and then we can answer any questions that have been popped in the chat. So yeah, we just thought it'd be really helpful just to talk through the whole process in terms of the grant management system that the Football Foundation use. A lot of organisations, clubs, they do all of the legwork. They do the pitch power. They, have the conversations with the county FA around what grants they want to apply for, and then they get to this stage and it's kind of like, now what do I do? So we just thought it'd be really useful just to kind of talk through how to create an account, and then once you've created an account, how you get your contacts verified, and then how we then progress onto an application form. So the first step as a new organisation or new club that hasn't created an account on the Football Foundation portal is to create one. So you would go to the web page that's on the screen, and then you would go to the sign in on the top right corner of the page. You would then click to sign up now, which you can see just here in the red box. That will then take you to another page where you'd enter your email address, and you would have to then select the blue box where it says send verification code. That verification code will come through to the email address that you've inputted above. And it will give you a box to put that code in, and then you would select verify code. Once you've verified the code, you can then set your password details, which will then finalise creating your account. And once that's been done, it's all set up, and you'll be directed to where your then profile will be. Just to clarify that the Football Foundation, when it comes to applying for a grant, you'll need to hold one of the eligible roles within an organisation. Now, this varies depending on what organisation you are from. So I thought this would just be useful because we've had in the past where football clubs the grounds person has created an account, been verified, but then can't be nominated as a contact, a primary or secondary contact for the actual grant. So it's just best to kind of make that clear from the start that you do have to have one of the eligible roles, and when it comes to applying for a grant. So the next stage after you have created an account is to get your organisation and your contact verified. So once you've logged in, you'll go to your profile page, and then you will scroll down and there'll be a green button that says add organisation. You'll click that, which will then take you to another page where you can then add your existing organisation, and you can do that by selecting the little magnifying glass, searching for your organisation. Hopefully it will already be listed within the kind of like little search box, and you can select that and then select your position within that organisation and then request the access. If for whatever reason your organisation isn't found searching via that magnifying glass, you can create a new one. On the green box there, which says create new organisation. Once you have added your organisation, that will then go over to colleagues at the Football Foundation. They then check with us at the County FA to verify. So it is always best to, before you kind of do this process, to reach out to your facilities lead at your relevant County FA, because it has happened in the past where organisations have gone ahead and done this process but not had a conversation with the County FA before. So when the Football Foundation come to us asking to verify who you are, we kind of don't, because we've not had any prior contact, we're unable to do that. So it is really useful if before you get to this stage that you just reach out to, as I say, your facilities lead at your relevant County FA, just to say, you know, you're looking to apply for a grant for the Football Foundation. At least then when they come to us and ask us to verify your organisation and you as a person in your role within that organisation, we can do that. It is also just worth mentioning, so for each application that you submit, you need 2 contacts. You need a primary and a secondary contact. So this process of contact verifications will have to be done twice. One for your primary contact and then one for your secondary contact as well. The next stage, once your organisation has been verified, you then need to get your site verified. So whatever site you're wishing to apply for funding for needs to be added under your organisation. And to do that, you can go to you'll go to your organisations. You'll click on the drop down arrow and then select manage organisation, and then go to organisation sites and then click add site. And again, it's the same kind of feature where you click on the magnifying glass and search for your site. Again, if your site isn't within the search function, you are able to add that. And again, that will come through to us. I think it goes to Sport England's active places where it will be added on through via them. So yeah, so once your organisation's been added and your 2 contacts have been verified and your site, you can then progress to submitting an application. It's worth noting that once your 2 contacts have been added and verified, you don't need to do that process ever again. I think the verifications are valid for 12 months. So you have got a 12-month period where you won't have to do those steps that we've just gone through again. So then you would now go into your account, and then there is an option to select apply now. That will then give you a screen that looks like this, and anything to do with your grass pitch maintenance, improvement and machinery would be your grass pitch maintenance fund, your line S here to play fund, and then all of the funds, so goalposts, fencing, your catering unit, storage containers, they would all come under all the other funds. I think now we're on to questions.
I'll have one, please.
Yeah.
It's Rob Withington from Dawley Town, and we're with the Shropshire FA. Will we be getting the paperwork coming through on email for all this, like all this stuff that's come through tonight?
Yes, yeah. So what I'll do is I will send you a copy of the PowerPoint presentation and the recording as well. So if you wanted to watch the workshop back, you can. And then you'll also have an email copy of the slides. So all of the links and information on all the different funds, you'll get that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And you say that we have to get in contact with our local FA to verify that who we are if we put in an application.
Yeah, it's always useful, like I say, just to kind of use us as well for any questions or anything like that. It's just always a useful thing to kind of get in touch with your local county FA prior to doing an application. Yeah.
Okay, right, thank you.
No problem.
think Sam's worked his way through some of the questions in the chat. I think the one that he hasn't got to yet is from Beverly. Can you apply for funding to repair or upgrade existing changing rooms? Absolutely. 9 times out of 10, all you need to do is provide some photos to show what the current condition of the change rooms are, 2 like-for-like quotes, and because you're not really changing the structure of the building, it's more of a makeover, so to speak. As long as the change rooms are compliant for football, which is normally 18 metres squared, I believe. If anyone else from the county FA can nod, that'd be good. Then that is pretty much good to go for funding. Same as anything, 2 like-for-like quotes, and they may potentially ask for some drawings or designs just before they approve the funding, but that's something that you can work with your county FA staff on. Next one we've got from Hannah. Is there any alternative way of demonstrating a minimum of 5-year security of tenure without a lease? For example, a written declaration from the leaseholder at the site. We are only able to have a 1-year agreement in place due to restrictions in the head lease, but the club has been on the site for many years. Personally, I've never come across this. I don't know if anyone else has.
I was just going to say it's worth asking the question with the Football Foundation, because we've had a club on a council site where they've again have occupied the site for many years, but they have an annual rolling kind of agreement lease with the council, and I think alongside kind of a written supportive letter that has been accepted by them. So it might be just worth maybe speaking to your county FA and getting them to ask the question with the Football Foundation whether that's something they would accept.
Yeah, just jumping on the back of that, I think you're not the only one that sort of, it's more common than you think. A lot of clubs do have, rolling 1-year agreements. So definitely get in touch with your county FA and to see how we can work with the foundation to get approved.
Lovely stuff. Next one is, can you apply for more than one type of fund? Yes, you can. They like small grants in terms of 25k grants. There is one per year, but there's no reason why you can't have, for example, the grass pitch maintenance fund alongside a small grant, if that makes sense. A lot of clubs might do grass pitch maintenance funding alongside machinery grants as well. So within reason, and obviously there's justification for that as well. We've got a hand up from Karen.
Yeah, that's my question, because you've got the Lioness grant funding and the small grant funding because we're in the process of getting quotes for a total changing room refurb. Can you combine the 2 elements from the 2 different grants? Because I think because our changing rooms haven't been refurbed for over 20 years, there's quite a lot of work to be done.
So you can't merge the 2 grants together, but you can do 2 separate applications to each grant. Yes, you can do that. We've got a club that have done exactly that. They've applied for the Lionesses Fund for a few bits and pieces for their changing rooms to improve female provision, but then they've also applied for the small grants to I can't remember off the top of my head, but to touch up other things as well. So obviously it's a lot of money and it's a lot of partnership funding that they're willing to commit, but you don't obviously have to claim the full 25,000. You might just sort of go for like a smaller bit from one fund and a bigger bit from the other. So your partnership funding is a little bit smaller, but in essence, yeah, you can apply for the 2 grants separately, but you can't merge them together, if that makes sense.
And you can apply for them in the same year?
I believe you can. I think that's what one club, that I've worked with, they're in the process of doing that. So the Football Foundation, well, they haven't stopped me yet. So I believe you can, apply for them 2 grants in the same season.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Next one is from Alice, asking if just being a parish councillor is enough to make you eligible for the grant application. I've dealt with a lot of parish council applications, and a lot of the time they may ask for some proof that you are on a parish council. It might be in a constitution document, or for example, minutes in a meeting where it's listed potentially what your role is. Ideally, it'd be beneficial if you are in one of the more senior roles, for example, secretary, treasurer, chairperson. But again, as long as there is evidence that you are a parish councillor, that 9 times out of 10, that's been absolutely fine for any clubs I've worked with. I imagine that'll be the same across the board as well. Perfect.
Just going to touch on pitch power, Jack, quickly. All of us here, we're quite active out and about, so we're more than happy. I think I speak for most of us to say that we can come out and we can help you with your pitch powers. If not, we have people that we work with, the counties do, that we can send out to assist you with those pitch power reports. It's a good opportunity for us to get out and to meet you guys as well. So please reach out to your respective counties regarding pitch powers, because we can help you with those.
Cheers, Tom. Increasing everyone's workload as you go. Thank you very much. I think Jane's asked for contact at BCFA, which I'm sure, Sam, you can pick that up.
Yeah.
Copies of the presentation we will get through, as we've said. Darren has asked, will you do another workshop to follow on from getting to the point of looking to submit an application? Probably not in terms of a workshop, but that's something that you can pick up with your facilities lead. The easier, I'll probably speak for all of us, the easier the application is when you work with a staff member compared to doing it alone, means that if there is any hiccups, and that may be, it could be incorrect information on a document, it could be a question that the Football Foundation might throw back at you that you're just unsure on. If that information is completely fresh to us as staff, it's almost, we're starting the process again with you rather than we're kind of on board. Now, it doesn't mean we handhold through the process, because a lot of clubs are very independent and can do it themselves. But some organisations, if they want help, the help is there, and I think that's a good point for us, is that we are more than willing to help clubs out.
Yeah,
with
just to add on that, I mean, I've done quite a few like Teams calls like this with organisations and gone through, sharing the screen and going through the actual application process with them. So yeah, that's definitely something we can offer in terms of support when you get to that stage.
Alan, you've got a hand up, mate, when you're ready.
Yeah, just I know this is more smaller grants, but we're looking at trying to get a 4G pitch done. Is that something you can help with or talk about, or?
So 3G pitches are, what I will say is, I'll give you a pick this one up with, say, your specific county rep, but 3G pitches are effectively strategically placed based on something called the local football facility plan and the playing pitch strategy. So if your organisation, football club, venue has been listed in a local football facility plan that was recently refreshed, you can find those on the Football Foundation's website. Then there's a high likelihood that probably the county FA might be in touch, because it's, it becomes then a strategic area for us to try and put a 3G near where you are. If you're not on that document, it's probably unlikely that in the next 4-year window that a push is going to be on that. Now, it could be that your area hasn't had a venue listed, but the area you're in could potentially be listed. So by all means, pick up that conversation with whichever county FA you sit under. It's not a hard no, but it's almost a case of case by case basis. If it fits into the plan, there's potential. If it doesn't, it's something that we could probably add onto a short list. And then when we do refresh these documents going forward, we can have those conversations with the powers that be and put it into consideration.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Horton Parish Council have recently taken on responsibility of a playing field. It's been in poor condition for a number of years, currently being used. We're currently completing a large drainage project. Once complete, would someone from the FA be able to advise on appropriate seed to use and support us in approaching local teams? Absolutely. I think it's wherever your location is, contact your county FA. I'm sure there's not many clubs I've met in Worcestershire, for example, that will have moaning that there's loads of pitches out there. So somebody will want to plan your pitches. If you're doing a drainage job, they will also then be very playable during these types of conditions. So if you have got a pitch with drainage on, fair play, it's going to be a good pitch in the long run. In terms of seed, I believe, and I'm not a GMA rep, but a ryegrass is normally the best for it's a bit more durable in the winter months. So a ryegrass seed is the best. However, what I would say is speak to your county FA. They can then put you in touch with their GMA representative, and they will be the best contact for. But the sounds of it, it's a bit of a project rather than a one-off thing. So they might even be able to support you on the process as well. Have we got any more? Tom's dealt with that one. Sam Lee, last one by the looks of it. Could you share change room requirements for grant application, which you mentioned, or signpost to where these can be found? I won't share them right now because it's probably a large document. Long story short, they are available on the Football Foundation's website. Drop your County FA rep an email. I'm sure they can send the links over. They're also available on Sport England's website. So if you were to type in on your browser, Sport England FA changing room regulations, it will give you a breakdown of the safeguarding, what they recommend for safeguarding size wise. And yeah, it's pretty bullet pointed, self-explanatory. And the Football Foundations is a bit simplified for grant application, but they rely off Sport England's coverage on that as well. And unless anybody else has any burning questions or wants to have a chat with anyone, I believe that is all the questions done.
Has Alan got one? His hand up.
I think his hand was up from
Oh,
earlier
right.
question.
Still his hand up.
Could I just ask Tom if he's our contact up at Shropshire FA? For Dolby Town.
Yeah, I'll touch base with you in the week, Rob, because you guys got accepted a few months ago on the grant. So you guys have been accepted already. So I'll touch base with you in the week. Yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Perfect. So I believe that is us all done. If anyone wants to hang back and have a chat with any of us, all four of us will stand the call for a short while as well. So I imagine hopefully a few of you will be picking up with your individual county FA rep, and we can hopefully get you all as much funding as possible for either your pitches or your venue. So thank you for joining us. I'm sure you will be in touch shortly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just in time for traitors.
And the Villa one as well, which is even better.